We're live. So, welcome to the last stream of the final days of our share sale. Sorry for scaring everyone with the title. Today, we passed 1.5 million raised, and the sale finishes on June the 1st. 1.5 million is absolutely incredible. So, thank you to everyone that invested, and this stream is for you. But it's also for anyone that's thinking of investing, or anyone that's curious about what we're up to. If you've got any questions at any time, please chip in, and we're going to give you the inside details of what it is that we're working on, how it's going. And with that, I'm going to jump into the intros. I'm David Webb, the CEO, and your humble Yarn Hub narrator. And contrary to popular belief, I'm really not AI. And I have with me Cyril Barrow, who's our head of games, and Michael Thaddeus, who's our games director. And I'm just going to add in Chandler Klein, who's one of the founders of PickMe. So we're going to get started with a real short presentation, and then we're straight into questions. Okay. So I'm not the interesting one on this, and you probably don't want to hear much about me, but basically I'm founder of Yarn Hub and done a bunch of other stuff. But I'll pass you over to the interesting people. So Cyril, do you want to go up next?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm Cyril. Good evening, good morning. Hello, everyone. I had the chance to start my career in gaming 20 years ago. And for 20 years, I have built studios, I have run studio, I have built teams, and I've launched a lot of games. So, from Electronic Arts, where I led, SimCity Build It, Need for Speed, Real Racing, The Sims, to a company called Rovio in Finland, who's doing Angry Birds, launching Angry Birds 2 in 2015. Basically, for the last 20 years, I've been building and launching games. This is what I do. And I've been working with Michael 3 times already.
3 times, and you just keep coming back for more reviews. So yeah, I've been working in the games industry since 2008. My first gig was at Jagex all the way back in 2008. I've worked on virtually every platform with the exception of VR. Have not done any VR stuff. So mobile, browser-based, Facebook games, PC console with the likes of Control from Remedy, and almost literally everything in between. It's a wild ride, and I'm super happy to be here. I don't know about if the rest of the guys can say the same. Putting up with me.
I know where they live. They have to say yes. Chandler, so maybe Chandler, you want to go next. So Chandler's head of PickMe.
Sure, guys. Yeah. So hi, everyone. I'm one of the founders of PickMe. I'm just here to help you guys make sure you have all your questions answered about the crowdfunding platform and make sure that it's easy for you to get an investment through if you wish to do so.
Okay. So over 3,000 investors so far. Absolutely incredible. The biggest number of investors I think that has happened on a Reg CF for a very long time. I think we're in the most international and highest number of investors, which many people have seen. So it's just incredible. 2,500 people are less than $1,000 invested, and the average investment is $416. I checked it before we came on the call. 500 have invested over $1,000, and there's now around about 25 or more over $10,000, and we're accelerating towards the end of the close. And there's literally just a couple of days left, a day and a half left. We are now at 1.54 million. It's going up rapidly. I think yesterday was our best ever day in terms of raise. So yeah, I mean, everything's looking really, really great. Thank you very much to everybody that invested once again. Reg CF allows us to raise up to $5 million. Obviously, we're not going to make that 5 million unless somebody wants to come in and buy the rest of the shares this evening. We think we're probably going to look and see where we are with the raise at the end of this week, whether or not we open it again. But right now, it's looking really good. It's accelerating, and so we're going to be looking at that and making sure that we've got enough cash to do what we need to do. Just a quick map of the investors. This one's a little bit old. This is when we had 2,000 investors. So if we did a new one, it would probably be a lot brighter in spots. I think some of the plots aren't quite right because people were pointing out that there aren't islands at that point in the Pacific Ocean, and that's really not North Korea. It's South Korea, I promise you. We did actually check because there were lots of people saying, that's what Kim Jong-un invested. But it's incredible. I mean, it's a truly international set of investments. The biggest country is US. But if you take the rest of the world versus the US, it's more money is coming from outside the US. So it's a truly international race.
Absolutely, and I can make a little comment here. So I read the comment about there's no island on that part. So I had the zoomable version of this map, and I went there, and there is an island. It's a very small island. Yeah,
oh, well.
yeah.
I
went through every single point in the middle of the sea, and there is an island, tiny one, but it's there. Absolutely.
It's a lone crofter with a bunch of sheep watching Yarn Hub. If you're watching now, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and you know who you are.
Yeah.
Right. So we launched this page on Steam for Brass Rain. Was it 7 weeks ago now? And we've been very overwhelmed by the amount of traction that the page has shown. So we measure traction by how many people wishlist the game, meaning that they want to hear about the game when it launches, but also follow the game. So every time there's an update, there's a new screenshot, there's a new update on the text, they will get a small notification. Today, we have more than 29,000 wishlists and more than 6,000 follow. The ratio of wishlist to follow is extremely high compared to the average Steam page out there. So that also shows that a lot of people want to not only hear when the game launches, but they want to hear about the development of the game, which is a very good positive point for us. It means that people are engaged around the development of Brass Rain. We've heard a lot of people wanting to participate to playtest, for example. I'm sure we are going to have questions today about playtest and this kind of things. I mean, in terms of ranking, it's amazing. We are already in the top 2% of the wishlist ranking, on Steam. The ranking is number 1,400. I'm pretty sure that once in a few weeks, when we are amongst the top 1,000 games wishlisted on Steam, we are going to recognize companies and games around us, and we will be in a very, very good company. So amazing start for Brass Rain on Steam, showing a lot of traction. And if anyone listening has not followed and wishlist on Steam, please go ahead. That would really help us and help the algorithm in order to get the game discovered by others.
Okay, let's jump into the questions. If you haven't asked one or you have a burning question, now's the time. And I'll start by going through some of these comments. I thought this one just had to be discussed. I'm truly sorry. On my face on the thumbnail, for some reason, makes it clickable. I think it's like the same reason that you want to watch a horror film. It's something like that. I don't know. What's going on? Well, we'll tell you exactly what's going on if we're not making it up as we go along. Solve a capture right now to prove you're not AI. Well, I can go one better, actually. You can count my fingers. There we go. That's that number of fingers. Is Yarn Hub going up for sale? Well, yes, it is up for sale to you. You can buy a piece of Yarn Hub. And you've got until, I think, what is it, midnight tomorrow night, Eastern time? I'm just trying to think what the exact countdown on the time is. Do you know, Chandler?
Yeah, I think it's midnight Sunday night. So there's
midnight Sunday night. Sorry, yeah. Midnight Sunday night Eastern time. Okay, so you've got another 48 hours pretty much from a little bit over 48 hours from now. But it is. Where are we? Okay. I've considered investing several times, but the level of details about the game has kept me from it. Any details you all can share? Well, there we go.
That's kind of a how long is a piece of string kind of question, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we did actually put some development video in the last release that we did. Yeah, we did a video a couple of days ago, which was addressing some of the criticism we had, and in there was some gameplay from the actual development environment. But Michael, you can probably speak more about that.
Yeah, in the video snippets that were shown, you can actually see part of our metrics lab and test gym, and also part of the beauty corner where we test out the lighting, the models, the texturing to make sure that they look as good as they possibly can and run in an optimized fashion. So yeah, in terms of what the game is, it's going to be first person, it's going to be multiplayer. We're going to make sure that it is as historically accurate to the events of World War II. We want to make sure that it looks and sounds and feels like a Yarn Hub video, but you're playing it with your friends. We are looking to do all the combined arms stuff. So if it walks, if it drives, if it flies, if it sails, there's a pretty good chance it's going to be another player. And then you can blow them up or get blown up by them. And then for any of the single player or like co-op PvE stuff, obviously there'll be reasonably sophisticated bots handling a bunch of those functions. So yeah.
Okay, I hope that's enough to tip the balance, and you'll make the plunge. So, what's the meaning of the final days? Actually, I put on the title the final days ... in the description. I said ... of our share sale. So I thought it was quite obvious, but obviously I think on mobile devices maybe it doesn't show the description or something like that. So shame on me. Unfortunately, that's the way the platform works, and we have to kind of scare you a little bit to get the clicks. I wish it wasn't the case, but putting my face up and putting some weird words seems to make it happen.
I thought you finally got around to buying that Death Star.
Yeah, I'm just on the. You know what? I mean, this is how much I love the audience and love what I do. I'm in the last episode of season 2 of Andor right now, and I said I got to stop it. I got to prepare for this live stream. So that was it. Okay, Yarn Hub is the best. Prove me wrong. I can't. Thank you very much for the money. Very, very nice of you, Mr. Husky fan or Ms. Husky fan. Will there be realistic damage components on vehicles, Michael?
Yes.
There we go. Okay.
I mean, sorry, to expand a little bit, we want realistic damage components and damage zones on the vehicles, but we also want to apply this model to like human characters. So getting shot in the arm or both arms is going to severely impede your ability to hold your rifle and fire. Getting shot in the legs, you're going to have a bad time. Like damage zones, damage models. Yeah, we want to be able to apply this to every element.
Okay. Question for Chandler. I made 2 sets of investments in you guys. The status is complete on the first, however, only received on the second. Is there anything else I need to do on the second investment?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's one that many investors probably have. So if you've made multiple investments, it's possible that you may see a different status for them. The reason being is complete signifies that the company has fully closed on and completed the investment. Received means that it's in that middle ground between that step and the company closing. And so just to clarify, your second investment, that would mean that at the end of this campaign, that status will then change to complete because we're closing out the rest of the investments now. There's a lot of them, as you can imagine. So we're up to our ears in investors right now, but we will get to you, and you will see once the campaign closes, that status will update to complete.
Okay. Thank you, Chandler. Guys, show us some game footage or some weapons or concept art or some other shit, please, at Yarn Hub. So we actually put some, as I said, in the last video, there's something from the development environment that we're working on. There's in the test space, there's this, is it gym? Michael, maybe you can sort of about the beauty.
So
room.
there's a test gym, and this has all the metrics testing elements like the drop tower for like falling damage and lethal damage. But there's also a zone called, or affectionately referred to as the beauty corner. We're able to test out lighting. We're able to test out like model performance. So the animations, like, do they look correct in multiplayer? Do they replicate correctly over network? This is kind of important. All that kind of stuff. And whilst making sure that it runs in a optimized performant way with as little lag or latency as possible. So we have this zone. We have it set up. And we do have some video recorded or some footage recorded for this. I actually recorded a ton, and Sergey, who's behind the scenes at the moment, had to basically like, whoa. There's only so much footage we can actually show, so we ended up having to trim it down. But there's plenty of material to go around, perhaps too much.
Yeah, we'll be releasing more over time. And
yes.
I don't know whether we're releasing it on the main channel or we're going to put it on a separate channel. We just got to sort of figure out our content strategy on that. So, but yeah, keep watching. There's definitely going to be more stuff coming.
If I may, I think Discord is going to be the first place that we're going to start to leak images and videos, and then, of course, as David says, we're going to think about how wide we're going to publish those ones. But Discord is going to be our daily tools to communicate with the community and show progress.
If you're not on the Discord, please join the Discord now. I'm sure Doug is on the chat because he always is. And if you are, Doug, if you could put the link to the Discord in there, that'd be great. It's on all of the Yarn Hub videos as well. Okay. Still missing your World War II videos. Gaming's cool, but we miss your actual content. So we released a film just a little over 2 weeks ago. Maybe you didn't see it. It was a great one. It was a one of my favorites. But we're hoping to release a film after this live stream today. The team is still working on it right now, so I can't say for sure. And I can look at Sergey backstage, and he's either going to go like this or like this at me. He's giving me the thumbs up. So basically, we're probably going to be releasing after this stream. So we're definitely still working on the content and working on the game. We hope to be able to create even more content because, as I've said before, trying to do these videos, which are very expensive on the basis of just ad revenue, it's a real tough ask, and it makes it quite difficult for us to scale to produce more content. Once we've got the game behind us as well, we should be able to produce more and more videos more frequently. Do I like cats? I do, but I have a dog, and he's a brilliant dog. He's called Bilbo. And if you've watched any Yarn Hub Mystery, when I'm in Rendlesham Forest, you can see Bilbo running around. And also when we did the B-17 raid that went wrong in, oh gosh, I forget the Belgian city. Anyway, but we did a film on a B-17 raid, went wrong, and you can see Bilbo running around there as well. He's like a little Jack Russell, cool little dog. What's the minimum investment? $100. You answered it yourself. And why is it $100? Because it was the lowest that we could make it, basically. We wanted to give as many of you the chance as possible to invest. And I know $100 is still a high amount, but I think it's the lowest that we could realistically make this work. And Chandler was advising us to go, I think, a minimum of $250. We completely ignored his very good advice and pushed it down to 100, and now Chandler's suffering with 3,000 investors. But yay, well done. Good. Okay. Yes. As investors, what can we do in addition to help Yarn Hub? Well, first of all, as Cyril said earlier, follow and wishlist on Steam. So we've now got, I think, 6,000 followers on Steam. Is that right? And we've got 3,000 investors.
Yes, 1,000 followers. Yeah, absolutely.
3,000 followers and 3,000 investors. So, my guess is that many of our investors haven't followed us on Steam. They might have just wishlisted us, and following is important too. Maybe even more important.
It is.
So, yeah. So, on that basis, that's something else you can do to help. You can like our videos, watch our videos, comment, watch them to the end, share them, tell your friends. Literally, Yarn Hub is nothing without you watching us. And so that is really the best thing that anybody can do, is to watch and comment and like and share. And if YouTube asks you, was it a good video? You say absolutely 100%. But that's kind of that's the best thing that you can do for us.
There's another one, just a little anecdote. This morning on Discord, one of our investors was there and mentioned that they managed to convince their boss to invest at the coffee machine, and then say, but my next mission is to convince my wife to invest. I don't know, maybe you can help.
I don't want to be the first Yarn Hub divorce. First Yarn Hub wedding, like paid for by Yarn Hub shares, would be really, really cool. But the first Yarn Hub divorce could be a problem. What's the target for the investment? So our target, it says actually on the raise, there's two targets. There's a minimum investment, I think it gets to 75k, and that was something that we were just advised by our lawyer to put on there. But our target is 2.2 million. And as I said, so 2.2 million, it gives us enough runway for a development team scaling up to 15 people for the game, and that gives us enough runway for 2 years plus 6 months contingency. And if we don't make 2.2 million, we can work with a smaller budget. We can readjust, change scope. But also what we can also look at doing as well, as I said earlier, is we're not really sure where we're going to be on the close until we actually close. I mean, sometimes, for example, not all of the transfers go through. All sorts of things happen, and so my expectation is whatever that final number is, we're probably going to be somewhere below it in actuality. How far we are below that, we'll just look at where we are and then decide what to do next. We've been advised by King's Crowd, who invested in us. So King's Crowd is this crowdfunding monitor, for want of a better word, and they wrote a report on us, and out of the scale of 5, they gave us a 4.7. 5 being good, not bad. So 4.7. So it's pretty close to top score. And they invested in us as well. And I forgot where I was going with this, actually. But yeah,
that's pretty cool, right? Their confidence is so high, they put their money where their mouth is. So
absolutely, yeah. So basically, I mean, the target for investment is 2.2, but what they told us is that if we opened up again, we'd probably easily surpass our target. But what we don't want to do is open up too late in the year if we do again. So right now the plan is we may not open up again. We're just going to see where we are at the end of this raise. And then, there's a bunch of people that have also contacted us and said like they want to invest larger amounts. So there's all sorts of options open to us. But honestly speaking, it looks right now we're going to finish about 1.7, I would say, from where we are right now. And that's pretty close to a workable budget for us. So we really have to decide what we're going to do when we see the final numbers. Yes, 100%, maybe even more, as I said earlier. Will there be microtransactions in Brass Rain, Michael?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, there will.
There will.
So we're looking to looking to put the micro back in microtransactions. So anything that you can buy in the game from the in-game store, this is going to be like $15 or less. If it's anything more than that, it's probably going to be like a season pass or an expansion, and that'll be on the Steam store page. So it's an external purchase. So yeah, but like in terms of microtransactions, a lot of people they hear microtransactions and then they get Vietnam style flashbacks to EA and Ubisoft and like all these other AAA studios who just nickel and dime the players for everything they can, and it's predatory business practices, and we are definitely not about that. Like,
no, absolutely. 100%. Where we've seen when we said that we were going to do microtransactions, there was a lot of concern, justifiably so. But we have a very strong ethical policy on how that's going to work, and we don't want to be paid to win, and we don't want to be loot boxy or anything like that. So we're gonna judge us by our actions, but we're going to work with the community on this one as we go. It's a multiplayer game, so have you considered anti-cheats into your cost? An effective anti-cheat is expensive.
It is. We are looking at methods for anti-cheat. Obviously, server-side stuff is very important. We're trying to make sure that we keep the client relatively dumb in terms of what it's authoritative on. I don't want to speak too much on like anti-cheat measures, because the more information you give away about anti-cheat, the more that people with bad actors, shall we say, the more information they have to reverse engineer what you've done to prevent them and then circumvent. So it's cat and mouse always. Effective anti-cheat is expensive. Ineffective anti-cheat is also expensive. Denuvo is proof positive of that. So we will be looking into a range of options. If you've got suggestions or contacts in like anti-cheat, let us know. We're always happy to work with people who know how to get stuff done.
And the definition of a bad actor is listening to one of our videos with me trying to do an American accent. There we go.
Wow.
There we go. Okay. Will it ever be mobile? Well, we've so we're having a lot of discussion about mobile internally right now. When we did this video the other day, there was a little sort of screenshot of a mobile game in there, and everybody said, "I want that game. I want that game now." And it was a little thumbnail of a game. And so we are we are exploring mobile options to see if we can help test some of our some of our ideas. For Brass Rain, I think that's further down the line, though, right, guys? Would you agree? Okay,
I can pick that up. So yeah, in terms of roadmap and the way we communicate is at the moment to really focusing on making Brass Rain amazing on Steam. So bigger screen for this form factor. We also know we want to support controllers. So once we get a bigger screen and a controller, we are not very far from having it on smart TV, for example, and console. And then it happens that when you develop for smart TV, you're very close to being mobile. One thing you have also you need to know is that I've been 20 years pretty much, 80% of it was in mobile, 70% maybe in mobile. Michael has also extended experience in mobile. So mobile is close to us. Both Michael and I are living in Finland. It's kind of, there are so many mobile game studios in Finland. And we've been in this environment for 20 years. So we know mobile is somewhere on the roadmap. I just want to repeat that for us, it's paramount to really focus on making Brass Rain amazing on Steam. And then, of course, with the success, we'll be looking at cross-platform, including mobile. So if you want a date, it's going to be hard to say, but it's kind of this, it's a sequence. And let's get one thing right and then moving on.
Okay. Is there going to be a single player campaign?
There will be single player missions if we have enough stories that we can delve into on the Yarn Hub animation side. Then we can build out a campaign, a series of connected stories that tell a larger sequence. So yes, indirectly, and eventually, hopefully, we can do. I don't want to say like a Master Chief style saga, but being able to follow a few particular individuals on a kind of Band of Brothers style, experience, that would be pretty cool.
How many planes are going to be playable at the game's release? On the first release, we're probably not going to have planes in there for the first one. Just sorry to disappoint you on this one. And if they come in, I imagine they're going to come in on single player first, or when they come in, I should say. Part of the reason is planes move quickly, and infrastructure and ping time and all of those other issues that you've got with fast-moving objects suddenly become really visible and really present. And so we're trying to eat the elephant one bite at a time, and so we're going to be going with slower moving things like people first of all, tanks, and then we'll get to planes. But obviously, single player campaigns is a little bit easier to do planes on. So yeah, I mean, obviously being planes is part of our DNA. We obviously do a lot of plane stories. The one that we're doing today is a plane story, and it's pretty cool. So yeah, we want to do it, but at the same time, we got to make sure that we don't try and. We're already being incredibly ambitious with our plans, and to put planes in there as well, I think could just tip us on the wrong side.
It might be a bridge too far.
Exactly. Oh my God, goodness me! Sound like you watch some Yarn Hub videos.
Who would have thought?
When is Brass Rain out?
I can pick that up. So first of all, before I give a date, I want to give the context of what we are planning to release. So in the next year, we're going to focus on the reduced scope of Brass Rain in order for us to go out sooner than later, basically. And reduced scope for us means a scope that is still playable and replayable. So replayability of Brass Rain is super important. So we reduce the scope. We're going to, as David just mentioned, we're going to be infantry first. Later on, we will have mixed arm, other vehicles. And in order to generate the replayability, so it's fun the first time, it's fun the second time, and it's fun for weeks and months, we are bringing the PvP aspect, the multiplayer aspect. So Brass Rain, when we release it at first, is going to be first-person shooter first, so infantry first, but it's going to be multiplayer. You're going to be able to play together and against other teams. So that's for the context. We want to go out fast because the community has been asking for this game forever, and we're very eager to put something in the hands of our community and then build on top of that. That's how we launch game. And usually it's called, the first release is called early access. So it's got a limited scope, but out there for the public. And Steam has this great thing happening in June, every year in June, called Steam Next Fest, where it's a celebration of games that are coming out. So for us, it will make a lot of sense in a year, in June, during the Steam Next Fest, to go early access, to release our first version of the game. So this is the goal post that we have put in the sands. This is our target. And we are making sure that with all the resources that we have, the people that we have, the time that we have, the money that we are currently raising, we're able to, adjust all those parameters, including the scope, to make sure we can release on time in June 26. That's my long answer.
Okay. Please acknowledge me. Hey, the Milkman. Will there be more tank history? I guess you're meaning like not in general, because I imagine there will be more tank history. In fact, there's history being made right now in tanks. Will we do more tank stories? Yes, we will. The last one we did was the Stavelo Tigers with Joachim Piper, and that was, I think, the most expensive film we've ever made, and it took us a very long time, and it overran, and we're all a little bit scarred by tanks, honestly, for the time being. So we will get back to them. We will make more, and they will be in game. In fact, there's already one in the development environment. I saw the other day. I saw a tank. Is that all right, Michael? It's one of ours. Yeah, cool.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Am I going to stay?
Now he has been noticed.
Yeah. Are we going to stay on YouTube? Yes, 100%. 100% we are. I mean, if Netflix call, I'm not gonna turn around and say no. Oh, I've gone very blurry. Hang on a second. Here we go. Take the camera. Better soft focus on the lens. Yeah, if Netflix call, I'm not gonna sort of turn them away with a flea in their ear. I'll probably take the call. I wouldn't mind. But we'll 100% stay on YouTube. YouTube have been very good to us. They've been very good as part of the raise. We have an excellent rep, at YouTube. Literally, you hear a lot of complaints about big companies, but for us, YouTube has just been super supportive, and we're very grateful. And yeah, we're a YouTube first company, and I think that's going to continue for the foreseeable future. Is there a way to support without the $100 minimum? Is just buying the game when it releases enough? Well, it's free to play, but you can buy some transactions or when the game comes out, and that would be superb. As I said, watching our films, following us on following us on Steam, wishlisting us on Steam for Brass Rain, all of that helps. But yeah, download the game, tell your friends, and keep telling everybody how brilliant Yarn Hub is. Okay. When do we get to see a glimpse of gameplay? Well, if you look at the video that we released, just it's not gameplay, but it is a development environment. So you get a little hint of what it is that we're working on. The first gameplay videos, Michael, Cyril, any thoughts on?
Yeah, I mean, as we mentioned, I think Discord is going to be the place where we leak the first screenshots and footage. I mean, as you said, David, you said it. We haven't really discussed about it. We really haven't strategized about that. But I don't think it's really a strategy. It's about kind of, as we are on Discord and we're discussing every day with the community. At some point, there will be you guess what we did yesterday. We got the first rifle. We get the first. I can jump on the tank. Actually, we can already do all those stuff. But and there will be show us. Okay, here you are. It will be. I think it will come very organically. It's not really planned. I think we don't need to plan everything, but be on Discord and ask. We'll most likely say yes.
Yeah, I think maybe one of the other things we would want to look at is when we start opening up playtests with the community on Discord, we will probably ask permission from folks if it's okay if we record the gameplay and splice it together as some sort of teaser video for the rest of the community so that they can see just how badly they whooped the devs' backsides. Like developers are notoriously bad at their own games.
True.
Yeah, and my mouse control is legendary from the last stream. But there we go. If you were at the last stream, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So where can I invest? Oh, sorry, I'm not even clicking on let me click on it. Where can I invest? Says Reinhard. Hayden. You can invest by going to pickmecrowdfunding.com and clicking on Yarn Hub. The link is actually in the description of this live stream, and I actually pinned it to the chat. So there's a link on the pinned chat, sort of, I guess, up there as you're watching it. And if you click on that, it'll take you straight to the Pick Me crowdfunding site. We've brought down their site twice in the duration of this campaign, with the hug of death that from all of the love that you've shown us as you've gone to that link. So hey, let's do it again. If we see Chandler pick up the phone, means he's sort of firing up more servers. Will it only be for PC, or will it be on console? Initially on PC. We will get it out. We will get a console version out, though, right, guys?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Okay. Will you guys be making videos on YouTube by developing the game? 100%. Yes. Very much so. You know,
to add to that.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say the folks who are doing the Yarn Hub animations videos, they're not the same people that are doing the game side of stuff. So the game isn't actually creating any draw or drag on the animation side. If anything, they are helping speed up the game, because we're not waiting on our assets, models, textures, or anything, because we've got effectively a library of 4 years worth of stuff from the Yarn Hub catalog of all the previous videos that we can draw upon to actually get high quality models and assets, just, you know, almost like it's a time machine.
Okay. Thank you for the donation, Jesse. Any plans for releasing a modding SDK?
Generally, that doesn't usually happen in these types of live service games. So probably not. But I don't want to rule out anything completely, because maybe at some point in the future, yeah, like five years from now, maybe we do like a, you know, Yarn Hub Brass Rain, like single player story campaign thing that's got all the modding options like Oblivion, or you know how Bethesda usually does. So like, I don't want to say outright never, but probably not on the first outing of Brass Rain.
Okay. Does the investment benefit Yarn Hub with video creation, or is it exclusively for the Brass Rain game? What I think the question is, are we going to use the money for video creation? And the answer is no. We're not planning on doing that. There is some work that we may need to do in terms of crossover, and we'd make sure that was funded. But it's not. We're not taking money to go and produce more videos. What we're hoping is that the revenue from the game is going to allow us to go and then create more videos. So, you know, there is an element of revenue generation that we will direct to growing the audience, which will then grow the game, which will then grow the value of the company. I mean, our job is to grow the value of the company, but we're not looking at taking money on investment and then putting it into videos. Yeah, so. Will there be more modern combat scenarios like Desert Storm style campaigns? It's funny because the next video is a Desert Storm video. So, so in terms of videos, yes, but in terms of game,
not until later. Let's go with that.
How many nations do you plan to include? I think it was 90 countries interested in us. Yeah.
Yeah, just completely break everything. So yeah. To begin with, we're going to go for the big three. So US, Germany, and Russia, and then we'll start to include more of the other nations. With the US, because there's a lot of viewership in the US, so we wanted to kind of put them front and center. But Allied forces, versus the Axis forces, we eventually want to try and get as many different nations represented. Go Australia! But yeah.
Yeah, Japan as well. Japan, we're going to be making sure that we get in there too, because we have a large audience in Japan, which is very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much for gifting 5 Yarn Hub memberships, Vinny. That's very generous of you. Question. Is the game only FPS, or will there be routes like in War Thunder where you can just fly aircraft during battle or tanks? I don't remember if you stated this in an earlier video. Do you want to take this one, Michael?
Yeah, so first-person shooter, absolutely. You'll be able to. So as we roll out more vehicles, pun intended, we will have it so that there's more in the way of vehicle combat, which means you'll be in the vehicle in first person. So if you've played any amount of Enlisted, like you'll get a feel for like how that will look and feel. A bit of Squad 44, some maybe a dash of PlanetSide. We eventually want to be able to do full spectrum like combat, combined arms on a large scale map. But we have to walk before we run. That's why we're starting with infantry and maybe a couple of light vehicles, ground-based combat, before we go into things like, okay, rolling start, you're in the air, you're in a squadron, and here comes a bunch of Messerschmitts, good luck.
Okay. Thank you for the donation, Mark Treasures, and thank you very much for the kind words. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Jordan Johnson. Hey, is there heavy weapons? Oh, yes. Big stuff.
Mortars, bipod-mounted machine guns. Yeah.
And tanks. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How will you counter bullet drop and other realistic stuff?
So bullet drop over distance, to begin with, I don't think we're going to focus on that too much, but we are looking at doing material penetration. Like there's degrees of realism. Like if we go too realistic and end up going to the simulation side of things like armor, the number of people who actually genuinely enjoy that, it narrows the funnel. Going the other way, we don't want to go towards the whole like battlefield where it's just like everyone's like crouch sliding around corners and 360 no scoping. There needs to be a happy medium, which is around the squad enlisted side of things, more on the enlisted side than squad.
It's asking me to provide documents, and even after I've done it, my status is received and not complete.
This one's for me. Yeah, so this is actually a UI feature that I think it got exploited because of the number of investors. So basically, it was designed to say that until we finish reviewing it, and then the status changes. And so there's so many investors that David and the team actually brought it up to us, and so we're on it. But just know that as long as you see your documents uploaded, we can see them. And so you're good to go, and then we will be just reviewing them and then approving them. So you'll see your status change as well. But we definitely note the UI issue, and you're not wrong. So, but you'll see it change in a few days' time.
Yeah. So on that, you probably should just, now's a good time to talk a little bit about the timeline of events, Chandler. So, I mean, first of all, I just want to say that if you've invested and it says your documents are sort of under review, we'll make sure that you get hunted down, and if we'll find you, wherever you are, and we'll make sure that everything gets checked and done so that your share purchase goes through. Obviously, they have to do anti-money laundering checks and know your customer, but if all of that checks out, we'll find a way. And we're looking at actually allowing enough time to be able to get any transfers of money through, so that we can round everybody up that wants to invest in this campaign that closes on the 1st of June. As long as you get your purchase in on the system and your documents uploaded, at that point, I think we'll find you. But other than that, Chandler, did you want to just talk quickly about the timeline and what happens next?
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to. So, so basically what happens next is as the campaign wraps up over the next few days, you'll notice your investments investor by investor will start to get cleared. And then from that point on, we'll then be doing what's called a close. And that's when the money's being transferred from an escrow account to YarnHub. And so at that time, that's when your investment becomes complete. And that's when you'll see the status get updated to complete. And so once that's done, you'll then get an invitation here shortly from the transfer agent, which is also run by, it's another PickMe company. So you'll see an invitation to log in, and that's where your shares will be basically stored, quote unquote. And so from that point forward, you'll be able to go in there, check it out. If YarnHub does future raises or anything like that, they'll be able to update their valuation in there, so you can see, how your portfolio's growing. It's estimated, obviously, but it's going off of the future valuations. But you can watch your portfolio grow and change over time. And then I also saw another question in the chat I can knock out right now as well. Somebody asks if YarnHub goes public, what happens to those shares, right? And so what would happen is those shares would then get transferred to a brokerage who would then let you then freely trade them. And so you would then be able to transfer them to your own brokerage or wherever you'd want at that point.
Thank you very much. Okay. Will aircraft tanks be multi-crewed, and will those controls be simple or complex? So we always thought about, we want to do it multi-crew, apart from, single seat fighters. But yeah, I mean, tanks and big bombers, we always thought about it being multi-crew. And I think we may have to combine some of the crew roles, because I mean, I don't think anybody just wants to be a loader, for example, on a tank. So we're probably going to have to combine a few crew roles, but we want to have multi roles. When those controls be simple or complex,
it'll come down to the vehicle, the potency. Like if something is very easy to use, we don't want that to have a groundbreaking effect, right? So if it's something like heavy artillery as a multi-crew piece, it's like, okay, this has to be somewhat complicated to use because it is a group of people coming together, and if you can effectively use the weapon, you will shape how the outcome of the battle occurs. Like a person on a motorbike with a sidecar and a little MG mounted on that, like, yeah, that can be pretty simple to use, right? Because I don't think a motorbike with sidecar is really going to change the course of a war. I could be wrong, but it's not a magic sidecar. So,
oh, this is Wallace and Gromit, I guess. Is it? Will there be a B-17? Yeah, there will, but not in the first race. But yeah, we definitely want to do. It's been so core to everything that we do. B-17. I mean, man, it's just like, it's just. I think if you go back to the early days of YarnHub and you look at what we did with the Stigler story, I know it was pretty rough looking B-17, but it's always been with us, and we love the Flying Fortress. So yeah, it would be impossible for us to release a game without it coming in at some point.
All of the iconic vehicles, weapons, locations, like we kind of have to have them, really. It would be weird if we didn't. It'd be like an Italian restaurant that doesn't serve spaghetti. Like, what are you even doing?
Will there be an extension for the crowdfunding? I'd love to invest. Honestly, we don't know yet. We have to decide. As I said earlier, we're going to be looking at how much is raised at the close of this one, and then making a decision about whether or not we open it up later on. It looks right now that, I just haven't refreshed recently. Let me just have a quick refresh. As I said, my mouse control is not is legendarily poor, so hopefully you'll still be there. And yeah, so it's just coming up to 1.55 million. So I think we're looking at it right now. It's trending for 1.8, maybe a little bit higher. So we have to see how it goes. If we do extend it, then we'll definitely be putting a whole bunch of announcements out, so you can keep an eye out for those. And it won't happen by stealth. We'll be very loud about it if we do open up again. Another one for Chandler. Once YarnHub goes IPO, note my confidence in you guys. Thank you very much. Will there be a way of transferring my shares to another investment account? And I think the answer to that is yes, based on what Chandler just said. But anything to add on that, Chandler?
Yeah, no, I'll just reiterate. Basically, if there's an IPO that occurs, basically your shares would then be transferable to a brokerage where you can freely trade them. So yes, the answer is yes.
Okay. Nicholas, thank you very much for the donation and the question. Am I a baritone or a bass? I don't know. I mean, if I do karaoke, I sing Arctic Monkeys. So I don't know what that makes me. There we go.
Are we gonna become like a barbershop quartet? I mean, there are four of us, right?
Oh,
so
should we sing? Should we sing?
very badly, of course.
Yarnhub is epic, the best username. Do you like waffles? No, they're okay. I don't think I choose them generally as a breakfast item. My breakfast item preference for any kind of breakfast, pancakes. I think pancakes beat waffles every time.
But waffles can be savory. There's a waffle restaurant in London. I can't for the life of me remember the name of it, but I had lunchtime waffles with bacon, and it was amazing.
Yeah. You can have savory pancakes as well, of course, though. I mean, so.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. My status on my investment says received, but documentation is required. However, it does not further elaborate.
Yeah, I touched on this already. Can touch on it again just in case anybody missed the first time. So basically, it's a UI problem that we're aware of that it came to light because of the number of investors, because it takes us a little bit longer to get to you. But long story short, if you see the documents uploaded underneath of the documentation required banner, that means you've given us what we need. We just still need to review it before that status gets updated. And so you're right to call it out. It definitely is not the preferred UI when there's this number of investors, but we're on it and we're looking to improve that. So we appreciate the feedback on that.
Well, thanks, John. I'm sneering at the questions ahead. Sorry.
Oh no.
Yeah. So when you were at Bridge, you showed a video of Bilbo too. Yes, I did. Yeah, he's a very fine-looking gentleman. And will Bilbo be a playable character in the game? Maybe not playable, but you may see him, running around. So why is the channel? I mean, I said Yarnhub is epic, had the best username. Obviously, I was wrong. So why is your obviously running away from a stinger on it?
You should see the doctor about that.
Yeah. Why is the channel called Yarnhub? So Yarn being a story, Hub being a hub, and we thought we'd want to be the second biggest hub on the internet. So there we go. When do we think the game will come out? I think Cyril already answered that one. So I think we can move on. Are there going to be skins for weapons?
Is this like a cosmetic, like paint jobs for your rifles kind of question?
Yeah.
We want to dabble with it without breaking the immersion too much. Like if there's like a preferred pattern that's used for certain pieces of kit, like vehicles especially are going to get like Arctic paint job or desert camo and stuff like that. For weapons, maybe. Possibly. I mean, if the difference between two variations of a rifle is largely cosmetic, then that's an easy win. The more functional the change is that's tied to the cosmetics. So, for example, like a rifle that has a heavy scope upgrade later, like that's going to have a mechanical effect. So that couldn't be just as a skin, right? So we need to look at the crossing of the line of where a thing goes from cosmetic to functional. But probably, if not skins, then tchotchkes and like little adornments and stuff like that. Painted decals and kill counters that like notches on the wood of the butt of the rifle kind of thing. We can do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. What about battleships? Battleship Command or Battles on Battleships? Asks Nathan. Thank you very much for the donation, Nathan. Yeah, I mean, we want to do it, but it's not going to be in the first release. Like B-17s, it's something that's going to have to come on later. Will it be the first or second person view in Tanks and Planes?
I think they are talking about first or third person, because second person would be the person who is about to get shot. But sure. So first person, I think, is easier for a lot of things. We are open to taking feedback. We will do some playtests, because with certain vehicles, like if you're on a motorbike, for example, motorbike with sidecar, or a Jeep, right? Having that third person view is kind of okay, because you're kind of exposed, right? But when you're in a piece of heavy armor, like your view is very constrained. We want you to feel like it's a bit claustrophobic. You can't easily see what's around you. You need infantry to help guide you in some instances. Like if there's anti-tank mines on the road in front of you, Like, you're not going to be able to easily see that. If the if you've got infantry, like, whoa, halt, we need to clear, like, get the sappers. Like, vehicles by themselves are, for as strong and powerful as they are, they're also frighteningly fragile, right? So we need to make sure that there's a good balance and mix in terms of your view, your perspective, your understanding of the surrounding. So it'll come down to probably to the type of vehicle, but also from playtests.
Charles asks, I know your videos are primarily World War II, but would you consider doing videos about smaller wars? For example, Falklands, which I think would make a great video in your unique style. Yeah, so we're actually looking at a Falkland story right now. So yeah, we are considering smaller war stuff. And, as the game gets more successful, then we'll be able to do more and more smaller wars. Right now, we really have to pick the big ones because we have to get the ad revenue in order for the video to be, to be able to pay for the video in the first place. And as you probably realize, if those have watched the channel for a little while, the content has got better over time. And that's because as we make more money, we put it into the content. And so, it's kind of like a cycle. I don't think we're making any more money than we were a year, 2, 3 years ago, but the output that we're producing is so much better. So having a revenue generating arm outside of advertising as part of the company is going to really turbocharge what we're going to be able to do in the video space. So it's going to be quite exciting. Okay. Hi, it's me again. Hey, T-Rex, King of Tanks. I also have another question. When using tanks, will your camera position be on the inside of the tank or more of an ultra view like War Thunder? We're thinking inside a tank.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm not going to pass this one over to Chandler one more time. I think
we've had this one before.
Yeah,
I literally had this one.
I mean, actually, it's like, I was saying to John earlier tonight, it's like going, you really just need something to make people feel warm and comfortable when they've done this on your interface to say, look, it's okay, guys, we got it, we'll get to it. With all of these messages coming in, I think it's just reinforcing.
It absolutely has. So again, it's a UI problem. You're spot on. It should probably switch the documentation required to document uploaded and under review. Something simple like that.
Exactly.
We're on it. We understand. We're not used to this number of investors. This is a massive number of investors in this deal. So usually we're able to review them right away. So it takes a little bit longer. So that's why we didn't plan it that way. So long story short, though, if you guys see your documents uploaded below that, just know that they're under review and we're taking care of them. So, but we appreciate the feedback and we're definitely implementing everything we're learning from this offering. So we appreciate all of you guys using the platform.
Will there be an offline mode will there be an offline mode with AI? See, there's a perfect example of me not being an AI. It's just that the editors make me sound good when I record the scripts. Because I usually make a boat of mistakes like that. But will there be an offline mode with AIs, Michael?
I don't think there'll be an offline mode, but there'll be single player options where you play with and against AI. So you might be squadded up and like as a tank commander or a squad commander responsible for a bunch of dudes going up against opposing forces that are also AI. So, but in terms of like an actual straight up offline, probably not. We need to be able to record your progress, award and unlock any achievements, that kind of stuff. So you kind of need to be connected to the server.
Why the name Yarn Hub? I think I already answered that one. Will the game have mod support? I think Michael already answered that one. Is it play to win? Absolutely not.
Oh, it's that guy again.
Shouldn't the Yarn Hub games department have its own YouTube channel so that any advertising revenue is added to the games department? Per, I think so I just want to make sure that this is understood. The investment is in the combined video and games company as one. There's not two companies. Obviously we are splitting up into internal groups to be able to go and create content. But the way that we look at it is that the content creation is driving advertising revenue and game follow through, game pickup, game conversion, for want of a better word. So yeah, there will be advertising revenue if we do a separate channel for the game, but that would be in the advertising revenue for the company. So I don't think it makes sense to sort of separate it out into advertising revenue for the games department. I don't know what the advantage of that would be. In some ways, if this all works out as well as we hope, we don't even really need to make a profit on the videos if the game is generating enough revenue. So typically, let me just answer a little bit more in depth. Typically, games companies spend a lot of money on advertising, and it might be sort of 80% of their revenue goes towards advertising to get new players and convert existing players back into the game. With us, it might be that we take sort of like 10% of that game revenue and put it into video creation. And that would be a highly effective and very cheap, relatively, method of getting new players into the game. So when people ask us about, what people say, what's your elevator pitch? And I say, well, we're going to be the biggest games company with the smallest marketing budget. So we really see it as a truly integrated system. And the game is going to free us to be able to create so much better videos, such higher quality videos, and increase our viewership and the quality and content of the output. Other than the stated microtransactions, how are we going to keep the game affordable?
Affordable or profitable? Maybe it was meant to be.
Maybe answer it both. Maybe answer it both ways. Yeah.
Yeah. So affordable. I mean, the game is free to play, so you can just play, and that's fine. You don't need to lean into any microtransactions. Other than microtransactions for revenue generation, we're looking at doing all of the. So we're looking at like expansions, DLCs. I'm still noodling on how to do something like a battle pass, but without all the negative nonsense that's associated with modern battle passes. So yeah, like we're looking at different things, and actually there's something that's noted later, but there's things that we can do in terms of additional revenue streams for things like merch.
Like what? Sorry.
Merchandising.
Oh,
merchandising.
Sorry. I was waiting.
Baseball's the flamethrower. The kids love this one.
Sorry. Okay. Will the game be available on Mac OS? Cyril, do you want to take this one?
Yes, absolutely. So the intention is yes. The decision process for it is basically going to look at the wishlist distribution. So if wishlist on Mac are here and consistent with our desire to we call it port for Mac, we will do. If the numbers of wishlist from Mac are so small, we'll have to make a business decision basically, and in that case, usually you just focus on the Windows machines. But the intention is yes, if it's big enough and justified, we will.
Okay, here we go. This next question is brilliant. I love this one. The Iceman. I just took a look at the Fundum page. You're going for 3 to 5 billion monthly views, 100 million active users. Did those numbers come from Dr. Evil? Yeah. I've done it. It's like we practiced that. Goodness me. See, that's a good team, right? We honestly didn't practice that. Yeah. Anyway, so just want to make this clear. This is, first of all, this is a long-term goal, and 3 to 5 billion monthly views. That would be across an entire range of channels. We have ideas to go into many, many different spaces, and there are large publishing companies on YouTube with hundreds of channels that are receiving, those kind of views. And I think that's something that we want to aim for. We want to look at doing children's content, young for women. Right now, we're very heavily men focused and on the war genre. But if you look at what we did with Yarn Hub Mystery, you know, if we freed that up, we could make Yarn Hub Mystery an amazing success. Children's content, there's definitely space for doing stuff in there outside of the sort of war genre, or maybe sort of, you know, I don't want to say 200mm tank cats, but you know, that's the thing that's going in my mind from the thing that we did today. And 100 million monthly active users, that would be across a full range of games, including mobile, across a whole bunch of video channels. So it's a very long-term goal. Don't be confused. We're not saying Yarn Hub is going to be 3 to 5 billion monthly views and 100 million monthly active users on Brass Rain. That's not what we're saying. So just want to make that clear. You know, so I mean, yeah, not Dr. Evil. Thank you very much for the donation, Nathan. Have we considered more Yarn Hub merch? I would definitely buy that Yarn Hub Game Studio shirt. Okay, we're going to put that Yarn Hub Game Studio shirt, and there's a hoodie as well. Do you want to give us the back view of that, Cyril, as well? Do you want to turn around and show us the back view? Very cool. There we go. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, we should really put that up on the store. We're actually trying out a couple of different stores right now, and merch has not been sort of something which we've particularly leaned into. It usually takes sort of quite a lot of work to get it ready, and then, you know, sales are okay. So it doesn't really move the needle for us, and we found that really putting the effort into to doing the films is where what made most sense for the company. But as the game gets bigger, I'm sure a lot of people are going to want some Brass Rain merch. And so, yeah, we'll try and get more stuff up on there. I hear you. We'll have a chat about it. We'll probably have a week off after the raise, though, because the raise has been quite an intense exercise for us all, for the whole team. And I'm looking at Sergey backstage right now, and his head's in his hand, so he's suffering. Okay. When's the game roughly coming out? For early release, I think. Do you want to say that?
Yeah, early access. So with a limited scope, but really focusing on replayability, we are targeting June 2026, around the Steam Next Fest, which celebrates the release of new games.
Thank you very much, Ghost Airsoft, for the kind donation. I know this is a war history channel, but I want to say your narration of the heroes mentioned in these stories, their bravery and wit, has inspired me to become a better man. Thank you very much. Very kind of you to say. Yeah, very, 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 very good. No planes makes me sad, Panda. Me too. But
Me too.
we'll try and get them in there as soon as we can.
Oh, excellent choice of aircraft, by the way. He had a Harrier jump jet.
Oh yeah.
Love it.
What about warships? Yes, we're going to get to warships as well. Not on the first release. Yeah, sorry. Is registering and investing simple? Also, what kind of documentation is required in order to fully complete the investment? It is fairly simple, I have to say. But you have to provide enough documentation for the... They will say, why the hell do they want this documentation? It's because of Know Your Customer and anti-money laundering. So whenever you transfer money for these kind of things, you have to go through Know Your Customer and anti-money, or they have to prove who you are. What kind of documentation? I don't know. Do you have a list there that you want to reel off, Chandler?
Sure. Yeah. So again, we're sorry we have to collect this. We're actually a regulated funding portal, so we have a license to do what we do, and they make us do these things. So again, we're collecting these documents, and really all we need is any government issued photo ID just to verify who you are. So if you're able to just upload any government issue ID that you guys have, that works.
Okay, thank you. Zayden, what will the max amount of players in a single multiplayer on the first launch? In a single multiplayer, I'm not sure.
On a single map, multiplayer map.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's something we'll have to speak with backend guys about. Like obviously, the more the merrier. But at a certain point, latency and game balance starts to break down. So more than two.
Yeah, and Michael was like looking at like 50 versus 50 at some point. I mean, but we're like,
Yeah.
I think we're talking about sort of 6v6, right? First of all, or something like that. Is that, or 12v12?
Initially, maybe we can push it to 12v12 with some like 6 actual player agents and then 6 AI on one team,
Right.
and then the same mirrored. But yeah, I do quite like those grand scale battles where it's like, oh, we're going to protect the airfield so we can push forward, and like, you got like 512 players versus 512 players versus 500. I played a lot of Planet Side, it shows. So yeah, grand scale battles. Yeah.
So will the game be tested by expert people who worked in the army? Have you got any feedback yet? So let me just, we've actually been, sorry?
We have historians, right?
We have three historians on the team, but I don't think they've seen active combat. So actually, I've gone blurred again. There we go. Bring the camera. I just rearranged my office and the camera settings have been screwed up. There we go. Yeah. So we actually got contacted by a ton, well, not a ton, but by several vets that reached out to us. Some real heroes and who love what we do and watch what we do. And when they heard that we were doing a game, they offered their help. So we've got their, we'll be reaching out to people when it makes sense at that point in the development. But yeah, there's no end of offers really. It's been absolutely great. And that's the thing, when you reach 35 million people, there's always somebody there that's gonna want to be able to help you in this sort of thing. So yes, we will be doing play tests and testing it on a bunch of different things. And yeah, I've been very happy when people reach out to you and they've got some of these heroes, when they've got a Wikipedia page talking about what they've done, then you're probably dealing with somebody pretty serious. Yeah.
If it helps allay any fears, I actually went to a military boarding school. I was an RAF cadet, so that was Wyndham College. So I know my way around an L98 SAAT and the LSW SA, as well as the bolt. Was it the Browning bolt action? So yeah, weekend exercises and flashbangs, much fun.
Will this game have Cold War tanks, I'm guessing, rather than thinks, but not in the first release. And Brass Rain is a World War II game. That's what we're aiming at. Brass Rain. We might do other games that are Cold War, but Brass Rain, we're thinking right now, is a World War II game. I probably speak for here. One, why the name Yarn Hub?
We did that one.
Yeah, did that one. Will the game want support? Did that one. Is it play to win? No, it's not. Will it be FPS? Yes. World Thunder, World of Tanks, or its own thing. On which platforms will it be? It's going to be on Steam initially. Have you guys ever think about making a full movie of the American campaign through World War II? So we did a film for Sabaton on the First World War called The War to End All Wars. It's available on Amazon and on Apple for you to download. It was a lot of work, and it was a long time ago. So our animation and our renders have changed quite a lot since then. We had to shut down the channel for about 3 months to be able to go and do it. So it's a difficult thing to do, and it does detract from our day job. So that's one thing. The other thing is with Yarn Hub, I'm not sure how we'd make it work, because what we try and do is we don't actually do many like full battles or full campaigns. We usually focus on an individual or a couple of individuals, a group of individuals, and say like, they're in the action. This is why they're there. This is why you should care about them, and then take you through their story arc. And that makes you feel something about those people. I mean, I love it when people go bruh, in the comments, or because we often call ourselves goosebump harvesters, and then you've got the goosebumps when people really feel something about what you do. And it's difficult. The bigger you go, the more difficult it is to get that feeling. It becomes just a relating of facts. So we'd have to find a. I mean, we could do a series would be better, where you could actually pick somebody in the major battles that went through. But it would have to be something. I mean, it would have to be something like Netflix or something like that to go and do that. So never say never. If anybody from Netflix is listening, you know where to find me. Yeah. I won't be washing my hair when you call. Okay, next up. Thank you very much for the kind donation, Solaris, the long hauler rail fan. Would there be stories from ancient times, such as the 300? So we are looking at different channels right now, actually, and we are looking at things that we can do that would be a little bit cheaper to produce, because Yarn Hub is quite expensive to produce, and we're looking to see if we can produce slightly longer content. And it wouldn't be out of the question for us to do an ancient Yarn Hub. I know when the question earlier came up, you know, with the Dr. Evil thing about, you know, if we did ancient Yarn Hub, medieval Yarn Hub, I mean, we probably wouldn't call it Yarn Hub, but, you know, something like ancient stories, or biographies. You could see that we could go across a whole range, but we'd need to find a way of producing high quality content that was cheaper than that we're doing on Yarn Hub, so to make it more scalable. Because, you know, if we did a 45-minute film on, I don't know, Napoleonic Wars or something like that, it would just completely blow the budget. So yeah. Quick answer to the question: yes, we will get to it. Probably not on main channel. So. Will the game be in Spanish? Not exclusively, but yes, we do plan to have Spanish versions of the
Un
game.
poquito.
Okay. Right.
Not bad, not bad.
Lo siento, hablo un poquito de español.
Mine is limited to dos cerveza, por favor. There we go. Yeah. Will you do alternate history videos? Probably not on the main channel. I mean, I'd love to do Operation Unthinkable or something like that, but then again, it would be difficult to do without focusing on individuals. So probably not on the main channel. We've looked at doing. We've got some ideas for sort of future alternate history. That's not alternate history, but like future predictions of how we think conflicts could play out.
And we can always look into this for the game as well, which is like, hey, we're going to have like a what if scenario. What if?
That's true. Yeah. That way I can get my Operation Unthinkable in there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Will there be voice chat in the game?
I would hope so. Proximity voice chat can always be very entertaining, very useful. We want to sell the idea of actually being present, so this is going to require a lot of effort from our audio engineer. You know, it's not just about attenuation; it's audio culling. It's about fidelity of information. We looked at this tech for ray traced audio, which doesn't use your GPU, uses your CPU, and it gives you incredible effects. So like being able to hear muffled voices through walls, creeping up and hearing two people like, oh, I hope nobody storms this position because we're totally out of ammo and all I've got is a smoke grenade. And you just bust down the door with your Walther and like, hi, boys.
Okay. I clicked when I saw the Final Days title. What the thing is going on here? Well, it's our Dr. Evil plan to make you watch our film. But really, it's the final days of our share sale of our raise. It finishes on Sunday night at midnight Eastern time. And then, in the words of Bugs Bunny, that's all, folks. Well, for now. Somebody was on the stream the other day. So actually, I dare I show it. So I have this mouse here, and it's got this little button on the side, and it's very easy just to catch it with your thumb if you're a bit of a klutz. And I did it twice the other day on the stream, and it basically disconnected the stream. So I'll try not to pick that. Will there be Italian troops in the new game? Probably not in the first early release, but we will want them in there for sure.
Yeah, we will want to represent all forces.
Thank you for the kind donation, Solaris, the long-hauler rail fan, and stories from the Civil War, such as the Great Locomotive Case. I'm not sure the Great Locomotive Case from the Civil War, actually. I think, does anybody know that about that? I don't know about that. But I do like armored trains. Armored, I think an armored train level would be really, really cool. And there's actually one at the Tank Museum in Parallel. Very cool armored train. Anyway, okay. What happens when you run out of war stories? I think we're a long way from that.
Yeah,
and I think we can cover other conflicts. I was going to say something flippant like, "Well, we'll go home," but no. I mean, what happens? The way that the selection process goes within Yarn Hub is that the historians bring along a bunch of stories to pitch to me. I listen to them all, ignore them, and then pick my own. That's kind of like how it generally goes. No, I mean, but everybody sort of like brings in their stories, and we try and pick the best one as a team, the one that we think is going to be most successful. So there's a whole raft of stories. I mean, if I look over the entire life of Yarn Hub, I think we've done less than 300 story videos. I think we've got more than 300 on our list that we could go after. And if you go onto the Discord, there's a suggestions box as well. So you can go there and put your suggestions in. And there's a ton of suggestions, and they're all good. On Reddit, there's one guy who's really, really into British stories. And he's like posting, I mean, like every week, I think he puts about 20 posts up on Reddit, which are great. You know, I can't say I watch them all because there's just so many there. I think we're a long way from that. I don't know. I
think even Hollywood has recognized that there's still a lot of great war stories that don't happen on the front line. Like was it Benedict Cumberbatch was in the Enigma Machine? The whole thing with like Alan Turing, like solving the Enigma. It's like it's set in World War II. Imitation Game. Sorry, my bad. So that is set in World War II, and it's about the war and the war effort, but nowhere near the front line. There's so many stories like this that we can delve into.
But also, I mean, it's not like we're doing a battle, you know. So we pick a person, and so you can have it from different people's view in the same. So we've done sort of like Iwo Jima from the Japanese. We've done Midway from the Japanese perspective, and you know, I'm sure we could do a different perspective from the Japanese side. You know, so there's. I think with the way that we do it, I think as long as we can keep finding those stories about those people, which is the interesting thing, I think we're good. Is there going to be a destructive environment like our office, like our workplace? Sorry. There we go.
So I think we will want to have certain elements be destructible. Things like bridges, having a bridge that's destructible for preventing or slowing the transport of vehicles. Small scale destructibles because they serve as evidence of passing, right? So for example, like if a door gets kicked off its hinges, that door can't be put back. If another player comes along later to that same room with that door, you know that a player has been through here because there's evidence that somebody has been here. So with some elements, we will have them as destructible. With some elements, they'll be destructible under specific circumstances. So bridge has to be mortared or artilleried or bombed in order to be rendered. It's going to be largely on what gameplay purpose does it serve. We don't want to go with battlefield level destruction of like everything, you know, all structures can be destroyed and like all this crazy stuff, because in order to do that and have that with network replication, it's not cheap. I mean, it's really cool, it's really impressive, but like, is it really going to help serve gameplay experience? Sometimes yes, but mostly probably not.
Anyone remember the 200mm tankette? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Yeah, we do. We do. And in fact, if you look in the last video, we had a great thumbnail designed by Sergey, who's backstage right now, the unsung hero of this, of many things in the company. And he did an amazing thumbnail for the game, 200mm tank cats. So there we go. And I would be lying if I didn't say that we hadn't given it good, long, hard thought. Anyway. So yes, we remember. Will there be Yugoslavia? Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean,
generally it will exist. We're not going to obliterate it from our universe.
The former Yugoslavian republics. Yeah, I mean, we're going to cover as much as we can where there's a market for it, and we're going to go where the demand is first of all. That's just what we have to do from a commercial perspective. But we want to be able to cover much more than we have done so far in our films, and that to feed into the game. Thank you very much again for the kind donation, Solaris Long Hauler Rail fan. And the story of the Mississippi riverboat Sultana, April 1855. We'll have to take a look at these. I don't know. I can't say I know that one. I'm not an expert on. Actually, I'm not an expert on pretty much anything.
Pre-World War One.
Yeah, this will be. I think it'll be American Civil War probably.
All right, so
yeah. It's 1865. Oh, now you see, now I know. If you'd have said it was 1855, that's why I didn't know it. It was 1865. That Mississippi riverboat Sultana. Yeah, I mean, we'll certainly take a look at it. Thank you very much for your kind donation. I can't say I know about it. There we go. I love your videos. And what background music did you use in the video with Philip R. Adair, the Burma Banshees, the Upside Down Banshee? That's one of my favorite films that we've done. And I mean, I probably going to give away too much, but Philip Adair's family got in touch with us again with another story, so we're looking at that right now. The music was a really interesting choice, actually, and it really split the audience. I loved it. I thought it was great. I think the director did a great job on it. But if you haven't seen it, it's a bit more sort of heavy metal music, a bit more rock music, and I think it was all licensed from Epidemic Sound. So all of those are available from Epidemic Sound. I can't tell you which ones, I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, they're all on Epidemic Sound. I think if you Shazam them, it should find them, and you can get them from there. I mean, if you go to Epidemic Sound and search for rock, I think you'll probably find them as well. Wait, is it going to be like bomber formations, like you and 4 bodies flying BF-109s and you're supposed to shoot down a B-17 Super Fortress, or you and like 5 bodies and a B-17, 1 pilot, bombardier, and gunners?
I guess that's going to come down to what the mission parameters are, right? So if it's multiplayer, or like you're on a squad, it'll be the former.
Yeah, I'm sure what I mean. 4 bodies flying a BF-109. It means like 4 BF-109s.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to, yeah. Okay, so 4 BF-109s trying to shoot down a B-17, or 5 people in a B-17, 1 pilot, bombardier, and gunners. Hopefully,
I mean, this sounds like a really good setup for an asynchronous game mode, where it's like you've got attackers, you've got 1 aircraft with a bunch of players on board who, like, they really do need to stick together. Like,
yeah, I mean, that would be, you do that as a 5v5, right? You know, I mean,
yeah.
You probably B-17s. I mean, like 4 BF-109s against 1 BF-17. I don't think one's B-17. I don't think it would last very long.
I mean, there's stuff we can do with the gameplay and balancing and tweaking stuff so everyone has a good time.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm actually quite interested in this now. No.
Will there be early jets like Su-9, Me-262, or prototypes like the Horton 229? There probably won't be prototypes in the main game. There might be in the what if scenarios that Michael's cooking up. ME262 would be great, and I think that would be definitely in SU9. Sure. Gloucester Meteor as well. I think there's all sorts of options in there. But yeah, I mean, World War II jets are pretty damn cool, and cool stuff has we've got a special warm spot for cool stuff in our game. Now you've bought shares. Thank you very much, Gary. Do we become members on Yarn Hub YouTube channel, or is that a separate thing? I'm afraid that's a separate thing. We can't integrate it. I mean, first of all, YouTube take half the revenue from the membership, so we don't get to get all of that revenue, and there's no real way of integrating it, I'm afraid. So they are two separate things. Yeah, I mean, it's just
two separate companies.
Yeah. Sorry. Will the models be historically accurate with low quality models, or will it be high quality with minor historical accuracies? Yeah. So where are we going to draw the line between historical accuracy and quality? I think that's the question. So we've got really detailed models, and we have to simplify them for the game. We have to get them a little bit more simpler. And Michael, do you want to chip on this one? I'm floundering a little bit.
So in terms of gameplay, like, we want to make sure that any of the significant zones of the vehicle are represented and modeled, so we can do accurate damage models for where the vehicle gets hit and what happens to it. But are we going to be having all of the internal fuel lines or all of the internal pneumatics and communication lines and whatever, modeled and represented in the vehicle for a one-to-one simulation? No, that's somewhat unfeasible. And I think that level of fidelity would not necessarily serve a gameplay experience. So fuel tanks, yes. The individual fuel lines, no, and we can extend this to other gameplay elements and systems.
Yeah, we know also we'll have to deviate from accuracy from time to time to prioritize the entertainment value of the game we are making. So we have to keep in mind we are making a game. It has to be entertaining, and if we have to take some freedom on some aspect of the visuals or how things work because it's more fun, we will have to define how much we are deviating here.
Okay. Sorry, I'm getting a bit of a frog in my throat now. Will there be Easter eggs like the one you put on your old videos, the cat? Michael definitely wants to have some Easter eggs in there. Been lobbying like crazy. So I think the short answer is I don't think we could stop it. But but we'll try and make sure that we're not sort of like taking away from the badassery of the game at the same time. Will Yarn Hub ever reach 2.5 million subscribers? Thank you for this question. Yes, is the answer. We will. So I think right now we're doing about 70 to 80,000 subscribers a month. A couple of months ago, we were doing 170,000 subscribers a month. Obviously, the raise has been taking us a little bit away from production of the videos. There's a great video coming out later tonight. So I think it's gonna do really well. It's a modern one, and some of the audience like the modern ones. Excuse me. So yeah, maybe sooner than you think. If we can we're now at 2.17. So if we can get back up to 175,000 subscribers a month, it's probably about 2 or 3 months away. So yeah, sure. Will Soldier custom modified vehicles be available to us like the old pub, B-17, Rosie the Rocketer, and the MG Cockroaches?
This is probably like more mission specific, or anywhere we can leverage and really kind of showcase what that thing was for. There was that jury-rigged aircraft cannon.
Oh no, sorry.
Which one?
The aircraft. Sorry, I thought you were saying. Sorry, I thought you were talking about old 666, the B-17 that had been sort of pimped up with a ton of guns.
I mean, even that, like we can like do specific missions like, hey, this is this vehicle, this really happened, and you get to do what it got to do.
I mean, the old pub would be great. I mean, Rosie the Rocketer as well would be great. I mean, yeah, they're all good. They're all good. Yeah, I'd love to. But obviously, we are going to have to curb our enthusiasm. And honest, I think if we can get a good game out that does good revenue, I think it's then cut down to just prioritization.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to come down to. But yeah, you can see that we love doing this cool stuff, and hopefully you understand our strong desire to get this stuff in the game. But we also, take the burden of responsibility for the investment that you guys have given us very, very seriously, and so we have to scope down for first releases. Once we get that out there and we start pushing, then I think a lot of these questions that you're asking we're going to be focusing on. But yeah, we've got to get something out there that works and people like playing, and try and eat the elephant one bite at a time. Landon Garver. I'll do it one more time. Hello, thank you very much, Landon Garver. I mean, I'm assuming he means me. He could mean any opinion there. I mean, it could mean.
He could have literally meant say my name, and that would be
Yeah. There we go. What will actually make Brass Reigns stand out from the crowd of plenty of games like Battlefield, Call of Duty, and all Battle Royals type?
Well, we're definitely not making a battle royale. That's for sure. So games like Battlefield and Call of Duty, they are a little bit more. They focus a bit more on the spectacle of the thing. They are much more arcadey. They try to make it so that everything is always feeling like 110%. It's very adrenaline. It's very how to say. Yeah, it's kind of got that arcadey juice to it, right? And we want to go much more in the like enlisted way, where it's like, yes, you feel like you're under threat. You don't feel like you're a one-man army. Sorry. It is about teamwork. It's you are fragile, but if you are smart and if you work as a team, you can achieve great things. So yeah, like definitely not battle royale, and definitely not like Battlefield or Call of Duty.
And I'll add to that. I mean, as we all hear around the brand of YANHub. So YANHub has a style. It has a visual style. It has the voice. It has the pace. It has the way we follow heroes and crews and focus on feelings. And this is what we want to translate in the game. So we want to bring, we call it IP, intellectual property. We want to take that to the game, and that's unique. Nobody else has that. We have created this brand and this world.
Okay. Will there be a beta for Discord members or investors? Cyril, I know you've got strong feelings on this.
Yeah, I can pick that up. So there's plenty of way to play the game together, whether it is in development, whether it is a specific feature that we want to test, or whether it is early access and these type of things. There are things we need to be careful about. For example, we're going to be on Steam, and very quickly we'll be able to play from Steam directly. And the way to access the game is by distributing Steam key. And it will be a great way to distribute those Steam keys to investors or people being on Discord or any sort of membership. The problem with that is that those people who are playing the game with the Steam key, whenever they put a review, whether it is positive or negative, is not counted by the algorithm. And we are pretty sure that the community who's really behind us and wants to check the game and give us feedback, whenever the game is going to go out, they are going to put some sort of positive feedback. All the investors are going to, of course, they want us to succeed. They will put a positive feedback. If they have a negative feedback, they're most likely not going to put it on Steam. So, but if we distribute keys, we're not going to benefit from those positive feedback. We're not going to benefit from the fact that the algorithm are going to pick up those feedback and then push the game forward for discovery. So we have to be a little bit careful about that. So the intention is absolutely yes, absolutely. We want people from the Discord, people from the community, even investors to play with us. The question is how and when. And maybe one last comment. Sometimes we want people from the community to play the game, just to get that communication with the community. Some people, we want people that have never heard about Yarn Hub, so we get a bit more neutral feedback, a bit less biased feedback. So we will be running those type of play tests, and depending on the goal, we'll be inviting the community or not.
Okay, so in the interests of balance, Marcus Aurelius says, do not give money, LOL. So yeah, there we go. You, by all means, listen to Marcus Aurelius. In fact, I would recommend that you don't give money, but if you want to invest your money, we'd be very happy to exchange your money for shares. It's not without risk, as we've said a number of times. We are mitigating that risk with having an audience and a great team. We think we've got the right team to be successful. You can make your own choice on that one. And Marcus has his opinion, so I just wanted to put that up in the interest of balance. Okay, so how long till $100 turns into 100K? Joke. Best of luck. Looking forward to the future. Well, thank you very much. I mean, if we can get you to 100K on $100, I mean, nobody's going to be more happier than me. I think I'm going to be buying Bezos' yacht from him in that instance, if that happens. But no, I don't think we're looking for that kind of success. But we want to give you a multiple return on your investment. I think that's reasonable. You're not investing in us for dividends. It's interesting. We've had a few people say like, well, how do I receive my dividends? And so what we're trying to do with this investment is to grow the value of the company and create a liquidity event so you can sell your shares for a multiple return on investment. I worked for Intel for many years, and it was only, I think, in the mid 2000s that they started paying dividends at all. There are many companies, large companies on the stock market, that don't pay dividends because what they're trying to do is increase the value of their shares through the value of the company. And for an early stage company like us, that's exactly what we've got to focus on. You're not investing in us at this stage for a 2% return a year. You want a multiple return on your investment, and that's what we aim to make happen. Are you planning to post more videos on Blue Paw Print? Well, actually, we just did one just recently, and the V2, and we're working on. We've got 2, I think, in the hopper that we're working on right now. What happened to Yarn Hub Mystery? It's a mystery. It's so Yarn Hub Mystery was something that if you haven't seen it, it's great. I love it. I'd love to come back to it. Yarn Hub Mystery is a great example of, if we had a game behind it, how it'd be easier to make more videos there. Yarn Hub Mystery will rise again from the ashes, and you will see far more of it. Can you do a meet the team type video, please? It would be fun to see and give some credibility and reassurance to all the people you have. Yeah, I mean, not everybody wants to be on camera. Not everybody is, as photogenic as us gentlemen on the line today. We have one chap who's backstage. I'm not sure. Sergey, can I show you quickly? Do you want to say hi? Okay, Sergey's going to say hi. It's Sergey. There's one more. Hi.
It's a Sergey.
Meet the team.
So Sergey's in the office working late with the rest of the team, and he's desperately trying to get a video out for us right now. So thank you very much, Sergey, for your service. I have a question for you 4. What are you going to do after the game's release, which will be in a few years, I'm guessing? So Chandler will be off on his next crowdfunding. A company that he's speaking to, because he's not part of the core team. But the rest of us are going to be working on the next release of the game, because it's going to be a long slog. It's not going to be let's get a first release out and then walk away. We expect this game to run and run and run, and we want to continue to improve it, and we want to make a game that you guys love and continue to evolve over time. Would you add anything to that, gentlemen?
Yeah, there are a couple of technical words we use. So live development and live operation. So live development is about the ability to, in our case, add more arms, more vehicles, more levels, more island, more theaters, etc., more weapons. That's the development. So we add features. And then the live operation is how do we make the game feel live? Every time we go there, there's something new to play. So it could be a season, it could be a new leaderboard, it could be Easter egg that we need to discover, or it could be, around April the 1st, what is it going to be crazy in Jan Hub's game or in Brassrain? So we're going to be very busy with those two. Usually the game team, I'm just telling a little bit about the craft, about making games. The game team divide into where you'll have live development team that is going to work on the feature, and a live ops that is really working on launching a new season, launching a new leaderboard, and then looking at the data, getting the feedback of the data. How does it work? Where are the people playing the most? Do they enjoy? Do they finish the level, or do they churn out? So it's a data-driven also exercise. This is the business behind making a game. So anyway, you know everything now.
A lot of these things, they actually take a lot longer than you might anticipate as well. So for example, let's say that we want to have a Christmas event. If you ever want to do a Christmas event, you're going to probably start like the pre-production at the very beginning of summer. Yeah. If you want something to go out for April Fools, you have to start working on it basically at Halloween. If you want something to go out at Halloween, you have to start working it just after April Fool's content has gone live. Like it's about 6 to 9 months, depending on the scale and the scope. If it's like something small, like a weekend event or something, even that can be like 6 weeks to 6 or even 2 months worth of work. Just for a one-off weekend event, making sure that all of the content, the systems, the features, and everything is integrated and working properly. So it's you can't just go like, oh, it's a week before Valentine's, let's do a Valentine's. Like, you have started way too late. Oh my gosh.
Okay, time check, gentlemen. We're probably going to be wrapping this up in about 5 minutes or so. So we'll try and get through some quick fire questions before we go. Will there be an option where you get a notification when a video comes out? I'm assuming you mean in game. I think it's a great idea. We could even put the trailers for the videos in game. I think that would be a really cool thing. Will you see a limited closed beta access on Steam? If so, when? Cyril?
Okay, sorry. What's the question? You're way too fast. You're firing way too.
Will we see a limited access closed beta on Steam? If so.
Yeah, I think that goes in line with all the playtest and the kind of the invite comment I made earlier. Yes, absolutely. We will want to have all those sort of basically showing the game to a limited amount of people to get some feedback. And yeah, a closed beta is one of the tools we have available.
Okay. You mentioned new YouTube channels. Are you considering educational content? Yeah, but I think we're entertainers first. And education, I think, is a cool byproduct of that. But we want to entertain, and we want to. I mean, we like to do it with real stories. But I don't know. We like to delight people that watch our films. We're not information pushers. We're I want to say,
although Blue Paw Print does do a bit of that education side of things. It's like this is how the thing actually works. And
it does, but I still think that's like military tech ASMR. That's the genre.
It totally is.
ASMR, fall asleep to me just talking very slowly and deeply about technical stuff. Okay, you don't have guys in a game. How do you plan on being able to show damage to players' vehicles? Is it like in War Thunder?
Oh, yes, War Thunder Enlisted, where you have the little hit camera where it shows the X-ray view of what the shell did to the opposing vehicle. I think there's a way for us to be able to do this, and I think maybe we can even do it for if player characters get hit. I don't want to promise too much, but certainly with the vehicles, that should be relatively simple to do.
Okay. I think that means
Greetings
hello
from
from
Salvador.
Yeah,
Thank you
hello.
for the donation. I'm going to go through some of the donations to make sure we cover them all right now as we're running out of time. The Mississippi riverboat Sultanas, 1865, would be considered the Titanic before the Titanic, and there's a famous photo of it. So we'll take a look at that. Will your community leak classified military documents? Over my dead body, but that would be that would be inciting something. Yeah, no.
War Thunder, is that you?
Yeah.
Oh.
What are your plans in the event you don't even make your lower end goal of 1.8 million? If we're really low, we'll maybe look at reopening. So that's one of the things that we can do. We can actually reopen anytime until the end of March. We think if we, looking at where we are now, I can't see what I mean, I'm just going to refresh on the screen with everybody on board. We are 1.55 right now. So 2 days to go. Yesterday was a record day. I think we're going to be quite close to 1.8. Will there be flying tanks? I mean, tanks.
Depends if you drive fast enough.
I mean, they had the ones in the gliders, didn't they? They had the Horsa glider tanks. That would be quite cool. Yeah.
If we can, we can.
Yeah. Thank you again, Solaris, a long hauler rail fan. The great locomotive chose the Civil War had the first Medal of Honor receptions. Oh, Medal of Honor is always really good. We always like doing Medal of Honors. Okay. Oh man, they're too good, Marcus Aurelius. Yeah.
So much for consistency.
I like the one.
Any assurances you won't take this money and disappear? I'll give you an assurance that we won't take that money and disappear. I mean, yeah, I mean, that's not, hopefully you understand we've got a group of people, we've got a business behind us, we've hired a bunch of professionals, we're doing this to take the company to the next level and bring the viewers along with us. Those that want to invest, you'll be coming with us on this journey. It's not our plan. You know my face. You see my LinkedIn. I've been very public about who we are and what we're doing. And this up to now was a faceless channel, and it was something that I felt that we had to do in order to win trust for this raise. And so yeah, it's been a rather daunting thing to sort of to lift the kimono and show our face in this way. But yeah, it's been actually quite a lot of fun, and I've been super happy with the reception we've had. You've been very, very kind. Even the haters. I mean, it seems like friendly banter. So it's all been quite good. But yeah, I mean, I can give you an assurance that it's not our intention to take your money and run away. Our intention is to take your money and to increase the value of the company which you are part of. Yeah, so I tried to buy shares, but it wouldn't let me unless I was ridiculously rich or professional in trading. Any ideas why I'm from the UK? Yes, UK and Canada have, I wouldn't say horrible legislation, but they have legislation which says that you have to declare yourself as being horribly rich or a professional trader before you're allowed to buy shares in an offer such as ours. You have to say, yes, that's what I am. And I think, yeah, it's just the law of the land that we have to adhere to if we're going to sell people shares in the UK and in Canada. Saying that, we do have many, many investors in those countries. So I'll just leave that one there in that respect. Okay, can you do a behind the scenes video? It will be interesting. Yeah, we'll try and do that. As I said, not everybody wants to be on the on there. I tried to buy shares, but it wouldn't let me. Oh, we've already done that one. We did a film, I think, on Rickenbacker. I think we already did. Could be wrong. Actually, it was on the Balloon Busters. Eddie Rickenbacker was in the Balloon Busters. film that we did. Right. Okay. I think we are out of time. Some music coming through. I'm not sure who that is. If you can mute that on the call. So I'll say thanks very much for joining us. I hope we inspired you to buy some shares. But if not, there are other ways that you can help us by following and wishlisting Brass Rain on Steam. And of course, watching our films. We hope to have a film out shortly after this presentation. So stay online and check in within the hour. There should be a instant premiere coming up. I need to check with Sergey how that looks. Yeah, thanks again for joining. Thanks for staying to the end. Thanks for all your support. And thanks for watching. Yarn Hub is nothing without you. So wherever you are in the world, thank you and have a good night.
Good night.